During the summer of 2020, I was spending a lot of my time playing Corporate Clash in preparation for their upcoming update 1.1. We didn't know a lot about it, but it was exciting. The Lawbots were going to be redone from the ground up with a new HQ, designs, and a boss. And with this coming off the tail end of the Break the Law event, which lasted 9 months, it's easy to see why this was such a big deal to myself and many others. On the night before the update launched, a new trailer premiered on the official channel. It was an animated short to introduce the new update and bring it close to Break the Law. I thought it was really cool since we rarely see Toontown depicted in a 2D animated style. And that got me thinking, haven't I seen this before?
As long as this mutt doesn't have fleas.
The name's Smirky, you insolent git!
Whatever, mutt.
Insult me again, and you will see how much of a mutt I am!
Oh, now you're talking big as a mutt. I'm impressed.
You're dead!
Yes. If you were in the Toontown community around the closure of Toontown Online, you likely know exactly what this is. But for the uninformed, this is Toontown the Animated Series. Created in 2012 by Mystical James, Toontown the Animated Series is a passion project designed to give Toontown Online a more fleshed out story. Back in the day, this was huge in the community, with everyone waiting for each new episode and getting excited when someone they recognized was brought on to do a voice. It's actually a reboot of an old project the creator made in 2004. But this isn't the version that I remember watching, so I'm not going to talk about it. When I was younger, I was a big fan of the 2012 series, but I don't really hear anyone talking about the show anymore. I've always been curious about going back to the show, as there was a lot I didn't understand about it when I first watched it. The show strays pretty far from the established canon, and because of that, it can get a little weird. But that doesn't necessarily make it bad or anything. And I want to take another look at the series again to see if it still holds up. So, without further ado, let's take a retrospective look at Toontown the Animated Series. The first episode opens on a very average day in Toontown. The year is allegedly 2001, which I find a little bit of a stretch considering the kinds of technology that Toons have access to. Nonetheless, we join a group of Toons enjoying their day in a plaza, when all of a sudden the town experiences a power surge that is so strong it turns the sky darker. The Toons notice a strong amount of electricity coming from Gyro Gearloose's lab, and remark that
Whatever's happening can't be good.
Roll that intro.
Yeah, never mind. The first few episodes of this show have lyrics in the theme song, and I'll be honest, for a show that takes itself as seriously as this does, it's good that they're not around for long. After the intro, we rejoin the Toons, who are now watching as the sky fills with... Take a wild guess.
They look like robots.
No way! Yes, the cogs have begun to pour out into town. The citizens, of course, have no idea what's going on.
If you guys came to fix the power, do it now! If not, scram!
The Cog proceeds to pull out a gear and absolutely destroy this girl's stand.
Which thus begins the Cog's first attack on the citizens of Toontown. What follows is a bunch of shots of the Cogs laying waste to the city, which, guys, I think you're going a little overboard here. The only Toon who seems to want to fight back is this pink dog named Dee Dee, who gets absolutely bodied by this fire hydrant. No one else seems all too concerned to stop them from destroying literally everything, though.
Oh, hey, dude. I like your getup. I hope you're paying for that, as I have no insurance.
Hey, here's a place I recognize. We join the mayor and a few others in Toon Hall as they're just hearing about the attack going on. And yes, this guy's the mayor, not Flippy. Flippy is his assistant. He informs them of the situation and we cut to black. We open back up in the middle of the action where Dee Dee is playing a round of competitive hand-holding with a oh my god! She knocks this guy into next week effortlessly. This of course begs the question.
How powerful is the fire hydrant?
This cog tells some, what I believe to be robber barons, to place some bomb-type devices all over the place. A group of cogs drop bombs on what I believe to be Toontown's military, leaving them with absolutely no way to defend themselves. Joining Little Old Man in a blizzard, he proceeds to make a discovery we were all waiting for. The cogs are weak to practical jokes. I wonder if there's another word they go by. He also lives up to his name as the Blizzard Wizard by showing off some magic. And just as everything looks well and good, oh yeah, we have a bomb problem. Roll credits. As goofy as it was, I can appreciate how quickly it sets everything up. In about 12 minutes, we get the basic concept of Toontown introduced to us, and we'll spend the rest of the series knocking it down. Episode 2 starts in the now destroyed town center. I guess we're just supposed to assume that the bombs went off. Two cogs are snooping around the rubble, and one mentions that the boss wants his headquarters built here. Over at Dee Dee's house, her friend has decided to move away, for honestly good reason. Like, this dude just watched the apocalypse happen. I can't blame him for wanting to leave. Dee Dee isn't happy about that though. She says they should stay back and help fight. But that's tough talk coming from someone who got destroyed by a fire hydrant. But ultimately, she fails to convince him and he drives out of her life forever.
Defenders of the town of Toontown, defend.
The mayor of Toontown is just about ready to surrender to the cogs, but he's stopped by little Oldman who says,
Don't you dare put that chicken on that paper!
Then after attempting to assassinate a government official, Oldman explains that they can use gags to fight the cogs. Just one small problem. The gag factory in town has been closed for years. Apparently gags are illegal in this universe. So Oldman and the mayor go to the factory to see if they can get it up and running. The caretaker is more than happy to help and shows some cog prototypes that tried invading the building before just randomly stopping. Oldman uses them as a proof of concept to show that gags really work against cogs, and plans are set to get the place up and running to help aid the fight. Later, in Toon Hall, the mayor calls Flippy into his office. Flippy informs him that the use of gags in battle has been accepted by the Toon Council. And then this dude just gets up and gives Flippy the mayor key.
I'm promoting you. You are no longer a deputy mayor.
It's supposed to be like this passing of the torch moment, but this guy's just selfish. Like, oh yeah, I can't deal with cogs, so I'm just gonna pass it off to my deputy mayor. How about that? And that's the end of episode 2. I ended up skimming over a lot of this one, but that's just because there wasn't really much to say about the whole thing. So far, the show has been really slow-paced, as evidenced by me summing up a 12-minute episode in under 2 minutes. I'm really hoping to see that improve, because honestly, the story is not bad so far.
To their credit though, they were pushing out an entire episode every few weeks, so even if it was slow, you didn't have to wait too long in between episodes. In episode 3, we finally get introduced to one of our other main characters. This is John Fingernails. Interesting name. He lives in an area called Cog City, where he apparently works with Flippy's brother Bingo, who proceeds to coax John into going to Toontown in order to aid the fight. Apparently, the I don't feel like dealing with my responsibilities, so I'll make someone else do it mentality runs in Flippy's bloodline too. We cut to John taking a bus right over to Toontown when... Yeah, let's just ignore that for the time being. I'm sure there's a totally reasonable explanation for what that was. So the bus arrives at some sort of boot camp where everyone is split up into two groups. One with this nice and friendly looking lady, and the other who looks like your average mean boot camp instructor. John naturally tries to weasel his way onto the other side, but gets called out. And so training begins, and it's basically what you'd expect a Toontown boot camp to be like. Throwing pies, squirting seltzer bottles, you know, the usual stuff. John turns out to be very bad at all of it. But they're interrupted when they're attacked by a bunch of flying teeth. Don't you just hate it when that happens? Now, John finally gets to prove his worth and show his resourcefulness. The drill instructor blasts him over to a loudspeaker where he plays something that makes them all explode immediately.
Joey and the TTAS team. I just can't wait and I watch every scene.
And so, after an hour of boot camp, they're all ready to go out and protect Toontown. I guess. Aw, look, John made a friend. That's cute. That's a cute detail. I like that. Episode 4 starts with John waking up in what is presumably his new house to his phone ringing.
Mommy? I am not your mother! Whoa, Bingo!
Bingo seems to be very upset with him because he slept in today. Which, need I remind you that, you're the one who forced him into this! But never mind that, John notices something that really catches his eye. No way, it's a woman!
Yeah,
Wow,
they were
honestly,
so
if
meant
you
to
look
be
at it,
together.
He's a
He's
boy,
like
and
boy,
she's a
and
girl.
she's a girl.
That means
They
it's just
have
like,
to be
it's
together,
like they're
you know,
meant to
it's
be.
like
Dee Dee notices him swooning over her, and I guess she thinks he looks like a creep. And in all fairness, he is. But maybe I'm being unfair here. Let's give him a chance to at least start up a conversation with her.
Hi. Just the wrong number.
Ooh, didn't even give him the time of day. You struck out, man.
How'd you approach this situation?
You don't. You don't approach the situation. She doesn't want you, man. But no, John still tries to interact with her, despite her clearly not being interested.
Hello? Fair tune. May I ask if you need anything?
This doesn't concern you.
Ooh, shut down again. Well, hopefully he'll get the message this time.
I see, so something is wrong.
John, please, just give up. She doesn't want you.
I want to help you out. No girl should be upset on a day like today.
John, I swear to God.
Well, got that out of my system, and it looks like Dee Dee's about to tell him off anyway, so let's check this out.
You're barely strong enough to help me out. You only have 15 laugh points.
Wait, that's what this is about? Wait, 15 laugh points? What was the boot camp for? So Dee Dee runs into the wreckage of town looking for trouble, and I guess that's totally fine because as we all know, she's ungodly powerful. Just better hope she doesn't run into that fire hydrant. Doesn't take her long to find it though, as she runs into a spin doctor who proceeds to absolutely demolish her. Wait, you're telling me she's a 24 laugh elitist? Also, wait, laugh meters are actually a thing now? But don't worry, John's here to save the day. He introduces her to the power of teamwork, which, in fairness, does hit the cog pretty hard. And to finish the fight, John pulls out his secret weapon. A whole cream pie? Oh, wait, he's 15 laugh. John's an Uber! Remember, kids, don't skip laugh day. But, yeah, no, they just end up beating the cog. And that's the end of the episode. I actually like this one a lot more than the last few, particularly in one area. I haven't touched on it much because it's an easy target, but yeah, the art and animation is not super stellar. Frankly, that doesn't really bother me, and I find the style pretty charming anyways. But something that I've noticed is that with this episode, it seems like they're kind of working within their limits a little better. Like, compare the way that the pie throwing is animated in this episode compared to the last one. This looks really awkward, admittedly. And while this is a simpler movement, it still clearly shows what they're trying to convey and looks cleaner overall. And something else that's interesting to note is that the cast is actually expanding. For a while, Mystical James and E.J. Hibbs were actually the voice of most, if not every character. But as of this episode forward, Dee Dee is no longer voiced by James. So hey, it's pretty cool to see that even this early on, the show is improving and changing. On to the 5th episode, which this is actually part 1 to the first 2-parter of the series. We open with this guy, who, according to the wiki, is called Cog Boss. The wiki also lets us know that this guy is very commanding, as he's level 100 and ranks as a super admin boss in the Cog type of Ophical bot, so clearly he is to be feared. And yes, there is a wiki for this show. It's kind of been carrying a lot of the research I've been doing. Anyway, looks like somehow the Cogs are running out of money to continue their invasion, so that's where this guy comes in, the inventor. He tells the Cog Boss that Toontown's source of energy is magic, and that they could take over Toon buildings and use that energy for themselves. Cog Boss is immediately on board as they make plans to put this into action. After the intro, we find out that there's actually been a bit of a time skip in between the last few episodes.
I never knew my laugh would ever be this high. I bet I'm the top tune of 40.
That's wonderful, John. I have a laugh of 56.
No fair.
How do you not know that? Aren't you training together like all the time? Uh-oh, looks like the Cogs are taking over. This is it. It's time for the first Cog building in the series. Our protagonists are unfazed, however. They're ready to just run right in there. But they're not the only ones.
I don't care. It's obviously the work of those robots, and I want to go in.
But you don't know how dangerous it is in there.
If those sort of ideas flow in your head, then you're obviously not Toon enough.
Ouch, dude, look at this guy. You devastated him. So that's Dr. Blue. It looks like he's going to be tagging along this time. The elevator doors close and the boss is notified that the Toons have entered the building.
Great. Then I will do as programmed. I will kill the remaining Toons that face me.
Meanwhile, outside there's actually a newscast going on about the building.
Hey there, Toon, stop that!
I have nothing to say, I just really like that cameo. They make it through the first few floors with relative ease. And to retaliate, the Cog Boss demands that they
double the floors.
Looks like they made the wrong choice because they tried to double the floors of a 3-story Cog building, so reality starts collapsing in on itself. I mean, come on, dude, everybody knows that 6-story Cog buildings aren't... That's the end of part 1, so on to part 2. They made it to the top floor of the Cog building and they're facing off against the boss himself. This fight highlights what I was talking about earlier with working within your limits. The action is a lot more readable and everything looks a lot more natural too, so it's definitely a marked improvement over what they had before. The battle continues with the cogs slowly but surely gaining the upper hand. John gets this weird little glint in his eye, and we cut back to the Cogfather who leaves his weasel in the hands of the inventor. Back in the building, everyone except for John gets restrained, so it's not looking too good for them. Back outside, the news reporter is asking people what they think about all this.
Fairtoon, what is your name?
The name's Smirky, Vince.
No way, it's popular Toontown YouTuber Smirky Bumperpop. I can't wait to see where this cameo goes. He becomes a main character.
And I will have to find a way to tell the Toons in there that if they don't pull the safety key, the building will explode.
Very nonchalant explanation about the building exploding, but how did you know that? Like, should we be concerned? Should we be concerned about what your allegiance is?
Do you know the Toons inside, Vince?
Yes, from eyewitnesses. Dr. Blue, John, and Dee Dee are all in there.
Dee Dee.
Okay, so first of all, how do you know Dee Dee? Like, this is your first appearance. We don't know you. How do you know Dee Dee? Second of all, why do we have two people swooning over the same girl now, right? We have both John and Smirky both swooning over her. And also, Smirky's gay! Smirky wasn't actually out yet by the time that this was releasing, so yeah, the last part doesn't really hold up, but I thought it was a bit of funny irony anyway. Anyway, no time for that. This cog's going crazy. Look at this thing. Just blew up the top of the cog building. What the heck? Luckily, with the roof blown off, Smirky can now yell up there and get them to take the key out.
The key! Get the key!
Smirky, I said yell. Anyways, a weird shadowy figure ends up taking the thing on this guy's forehead, which I guess is the key, and boom. Toon Building's back. The shadowy figure emerges on the top of the Toon Building, and we look across the ground to see that everyone is completely passed out. Except for John. Where's John? Who knows, really? And with that, we have finished the first arc of the show, and I gotta say, I really like that two-parter, the whole thing, really. These last few episodes have definitely been a marked improvement over the previous few, and I'm excited to see where it goes next, so without further ado, I'm just gonna hop right into the next one. Episode 7 actually starts with a disclaimer, of all things, letting us know that the series isn't just an accurate representation of the game because it's too limiting, and they want to be able to be creative with their series, which I totally respect. But the real episode actually starts with these two cog children going into the experimental lab, as opposed to the non-experimental lab, I assume. Uh-oh, looks like the weasel from the last episode actually escaped, and he's now on the run through this dark forest.
Hello, you sniveling coward.
After the intro, we come back to these hilarious hijinks. Look, they're both trying to blame each other. Neither want to get in trouble with the cog, but... oh. So after the child murder, we cut back to these two enjoying a pleasant conversation.
What do you want?
You ruined everything, coward.
What?
I bet you ratted all the secrets to the cogs.
I've done no such thing. I would never... Wait a minute. He... Trust me, I didn't mean to.
Liar.
I'm trying to find a way to solve the solution.
There's no way to solve this. The original creator is dead.
If you're confused, me too. Yeah, me too. And I know it's supposed to be vague so that you're wondering what they're talking about, but like the thing is, I don't know these characters. I don't know what they're talking about. I have no context for anything going on, so I'm just confused, and I'm not really interested right now. Then the weasel gets found by one of the cog children, and the Grim Reaper dude gets smacked in the head, and the episode just ends already. That was a weird one, I guess. We open back up on the next episode at the Blizzard Wizard, and it looks like John's missing. I like the bit they do about Little Oldman's task being annoying and repetitive.
I did it, Mr. Oldman, sir. I recovered 5 cog buildings, as you wanted me to.
1 out of 5.
Then, not only does the power go out, but the fire goes out too. So that means Little Oldman has to investigate. He ends up talking to an angry pair of eyeballs in his hallway, and I'm gonna be completely honest here, I can't understand a thing that this guy's saying.
I'm Little Oldman. I have to say what you did is the
So Mr. Angry Eyes is all like,
"Hey dude, check out my cool laser pointer."
And Oldman's like,
No, dude, mine's way cooler than that.
and they have a fight over it. During this, we see Flippy for the first time in like 6 episodes, and he's doing paperwork. Yeah, nothing really interesting is going on there. Let's go back to Little Oldman. So the Grim Reaper dude and Smirky are both there, and Oldman is dying.
Is he alright?
Does he look alright to you?
Hey, don't give me that attitude. I just asked a simple
Can
question.
it, John?
Yeah, excuse me for one sec. Just what? This is John? Why is he British now? Why is he the Grim Reaper? Oldman says that he lost some of his powers and to question Dr. Tory because it's his fault. I'm getting a lot more questions than answers right now. So I think Dr. Tory is the weasel from the previous few episodes, and apparently he used dark magic, which is how the Cogs got their power. It's really not making a whole lot of sense to me. But it turns out that John saw all of this when he got the key from the cog in the building.
Idiot. My own best friend.
So here's my rundown of the scenario, right? So somehow, John was friends with Dr. Tory, who got captured by the Cogs and taught them how to use dark magic in order to gain power. And this was shown to John when he took the key from the guy in the building, which turned him into the Grim Reaper and British. And he's not British anymore, right? Like, he's not he's voiced by James again. He dropped the accent as soon as Smirky called him John. I don't get it, man. It also turns out that John is some sort of, like, chosen one.
That's John's true form. Just not entirely. But now that you're calm, you're back to Toonie form.
Wait a moment, so John isn't actually a real Toon? Man, I wish Dee Dee was the chosen elite.
Well, sorry to have disappointed you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Smirky. What's Dee Dee been up to? But yeah, no time to worry about her. We gotta go back to the Weasel. Cog Boss scolds him for running away and then says that he doesn't care if the Cog Father tells them to keep him alive or not.
What? He's not dead.
And the episode ends on yet another unanswered question. I'm gonna be honest, just a few episodes, I was really liking the direction we were going. All of a sudden, I just feel really confused. Episode 9 actually starts out with Smirky reading out the disclaimer from before.
James, the creator of Toontown the Animated Series, wanted me to get this message out really quick. The events portrayed in this fanfiction is completely fictional.
Never would have guessed. The actual episode opens up with 2 more new characters, and I'm gonna be honest, the last thing we need is 2 more new characters. I don't want to be mean, it's just like, I'm just really confused right now, and I don't want new characters, I want to understand what's happening. But either way, these 2 characters make their debut by killing this ghost flying oil cog.
What's this?
Oh, well, there we go. I know that one. By the way, I haven't been mentioning it, but they changed the theme song like every few episodes. And it looks like this time it's a slowed down version of it with a blue filter. Couldn't just stop at John, the intro also has to be going through its emo phase. So John and Smirky are accompanying Little Oldman at the hospital. They vow revenge on the Cog that did this to him, but they don't know where to start looking for him. They're interrupted by Dee Dee of all people walking in, making her first appearance in like 4 episodes ago. They haven't seen each other in ages, so this reunion's gotta be something pretty special.
Oh my gosh. John?
Dee Dee?
John, where have you gone? You had me scared something happened.
I know. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cause panic.
Thank goodness. Don't mean to dim the mood here, but we have a problem, and Mayor Flippy needs us.
That's it? What was that? This guy wasn't just, like, out of town. He was on missing posters. Like, hey, John, welcome back from God knows where, but Flippy told me he needs us to commit more war crimes. Anyway, it looks like Flippy's planning to have the military invade Cog City, and we get some more information on the character from the beginning of the episode.
You won't believe who's here. Alphanor?
Hello, John.
So apparently they know each other, and this Cog in Cog Central is up to something.
Send this to the foreman so he can get to his shipment. I need these tomb gags so I can get started with the extraction machine.
I'll forward to him immediately.
Then don't stand there leaking oil. Get going.
So both sides are planning something big. The Toons plan to move out at dawn, and John asked Alphanor to step out into the hallway with him.
What are you doing here, Alphanor?
When I heard my little brother was here, I couldn't help but resist coming in and helping you out.
Just don't tell anyone we're related. You know the code.
I know.
Alright, so they're related, but they can't tell anyone because of the code. Makes sense. Now let's see how this invasion goes down. I will say I like the atmosphere they try to pull off with the scene of them getting ready for the invasion. The music, the editing, the clock chiming in the background. It all gives off a very foreboding energy for what's to come.
Alright, Toons, listen up. We're going to Cog City. Yes, it is a place.
The usual suspects get their objective, shut down the factory. And with that, the army of Toons set off to war. Unfortunately for them, it looks like the Cogfather knows all about their plan.
So, they want to invade our territory.
It's here where we meet the general, who's given the mission to counter the invasion and take no prisoners. Outside the gates of Cog Central, Smirky summons the weapon of the God of the Ocean, finally confirming that religion exists in Toontown.
Summon Blade of Poseidon!
Havoc breaks loose in Cog Central with Toons fighting Cogs with gags? Oh my god, I almost forgot they had gags. The battle rages on for a while as you'd expect until Dee Dee finds a hatch leading to a railway. A train speeds up behind him and the episode ends. Now obviously this is the second major plot point of the series, and also the first two-parter since the Cog building. And I know I've been a bit harsh with these last few episodes with how I found them confusing. I like this last one and I don't really have those issues with it. So let's move on to episode 10. Part 2. We're actually asked to consult our doctor before watching this episode.
Yeah, hey, could I watch Toontown the Animated Series episode 10?
Absolutely not.
Alright, fair enough.
Although it looks like our heroes are going to be hit by the train, Smirky comes in at the last second and uses a tidal wave to bring them all to safety. They plan to take one of the trains because it's heading to the factory.
You're joking, right? What if the cogs are aboard?
What if the Cogs are on there? Shut up! Why are you even on this mission if you're too scared to fight the Cogs? You're the guy from that boot camp episode, right? Yeah, well, you've learned nothing. You're dead weight. As a wise Toon once said, if those ideas flow through your head, then you're obviously not Toon enough. You know what? I hope you die. A few guards show up and try to attack them, but they're able to successfully fight them off and get on the train. But lo and behold, 2 more Cogs are waiting for them inside. Back on the surface, the most intense war zone you'll ever see rages on. And now we get to see the first traditional Cog fight we've seen since episode 6. Oh my god, look at him throw it back. They win the fight, Smirky decapitates the Reddit upvote button, and they start to realize that maybe calling this much attention to themselves was a bad idea. So what's going on here? Alright, so a security goon's coming in? Oh, it's shooting something. When I said I wanted you to die, I didn't mean it! So after watching their friend get vaporized, the 3 remaining Toons try to make it to the front of the train. Meanwhile, Flippy finds a document called Robotic Technology Proposal. And also, Boot Camp Instructor and Alphanor were badly hurt in the battle. That may be a lot to take in, but buckle up because the Toons just made it to the factory. It's there that they find the General, who reveals that he knew their plan from the start. Not only that, but he also implies that the Cogs are attacking Toontown out of resent.
Our master was abused and downsized for not reaching what you Toons called potential.
Psst, I can create steam. We can make a break for it. Judging by the bios of that laser cannon, it doesn't look like we can take a single shot from it.
Every word you say. Fire!
The Toons get hit by a surge attack which appears to be deadly, but Alphanor runs in from out of nowhere, jumps in front of them and takes the hit for them. Alphanor dies, the other Toons flee, and we cut to black. A few headlines are shown, breaking the news about the tragedy, and the episode ends with John silently mourning his brother. And whatever this is. What I neglected to mention before is that this is also the Season 1 finale, and honestly I think it's a pretty good one at that. Looking back at Episode 1, you can really see the difference in just how much this show's improved. And that's why I don't like picking on this show for superficial reasons. It's a living example of how going out and making art is how you become better at your craft. And even then, with all the time and passion that needs to go into a series like this, I still find it really impressive on its own. And while I hate to do this, and even though this video wasn't originally supposed to be a two-parter, I'm gonna have to cut it here. I'm not gonna lie to you, this video has been in production for a while. And I mean a long while. For a lot of reasons, progress on this video was really slow. It was sporadically worked on throughout the last year or so. Heck, even right now I finished up the last 2 episodes while I'm sick. So even though I'd rather just make this one long video, I have a few reasons why I want to just get this out here. I have a few changes I'm considering, and I don't want to just drop these changes in mid-video. What changes am I talking about? Guess we'll just have to find out. But hey, if you stuck around this long, then hopefully you enjoyed the video at least. Maybe this video was as much of a trip down memory lane for you as it was for me. Maybe you even worked on the show. If you did, feel free to reach out to me, I'd love to talk to you. But also, feel free to leave a comment if the time between this and part 2 exceeds a year. Either way, thank you for watching, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Hopefully I'll get started on part 2 as soon as possible, because believe me, it's only gonna get a lot more confusing from here.